Hi everyone, thank you for waiting. I'm Cody, I'm the marketing specialist here at QNAP, and I'm here with our product manager, Deval.
Good morning, everyone.
And today we're going to be going over our VPNs and how they can be used and how you can set up a VPN on your QNAP. And so taking a look here at the agenda, we'll start off briefly going over what a VPN is. We'll then discuss how VPNs are used, and we'll go over accessing your NAS with a VPN, and we'll also discuss QNAP's implementation of VPN service. So what is a VPN? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and what it does is it allows you to remotely access a network via a secure encrypted connection as if you were physically connected to the network, even though you're accessing it from the outside. VPNs are used for a number of reasons. For one, it allows remote workers to access network connected devices in the office from home. At times, it may offer a more secure browsing experience if you happen to be using a public Wi-Fi connection, for instance, in an airport or coffee shop. These public spaces could potentially be easy targets for hackers trying to access your computer or data. And so connecting via a VPN would mean that your access to the internet will be going through the VPN's network rather than the network located in that public space. So VPNs they're also at times used to bypass local restrictions, limiting access to certain websites or services. And with a VPN, you can make it appear as though you are wherever your VPN server is. So you could make it look like you're in a different country, different state, wherever, and it will appear that you are there, even though you are wherever you are. So when a VPN connection is established, there's both a VPN server and a VPN client. The VPN server hosts the VPN service and is on the network that will be remotely connected to, while the VPN client is the device that is accessing the network from the outside. Often people will sign up for a VPN service where they pay a subscription fee for access to that VPN server. QNAP's VPN service allows the QNAP to be used as either a VPN server, or it can also be used as a VPN client, meaning that you can set up the QNAP as a VPN server so that devices can access the local network through an encrypted connection to the NAS, or the QNAP can access the internet through a third-party VPN service. One major application for setting up your QNAP NAS as a VPN server is a more secure remote connection to the NAS. Creating a direct connection to your NAS from the outside world typically requires you to forward ports on your router, allowing traffic in from outside of your network to access your NAS. And this method is much riskier from a cybersecurity standpoint. Connecting via the VPN connection means that the connection into your network will be encrypted and much more secure. And so QNAP comes equipped with built-in software called QVPN, designed to deploy VPNs on your NAS. QVPN supports WireGuard, PPTP, OpenVPN, L2TP/IPsec, and QNAP's QBelt VPN protocol. QVPN also supports popular third-party VPN platforms such as ExpressVPN, NordVPN, Surfshark, and Astral. And as mentioned in the previous slide, in addition to various VPN protocols, QNAP also provides its own proprietary VPN protocol called QBelt. This protocol was designed to strengthen the security of the VPN connection and mitigate the risk of network traffic interception. So WireGuard is also supported. WireGuard is an open source VPN protocol that QNAP now supports. It provides a fast, stable VPN connection, implementing several cryptography tools for secure VPN tunneling. And we'll get into that more as this goes on. And here you can see a comparison table of some of the various protocols that can be used with the QVPN server service, giving us a comparison between speed, ease of use, and security, among other things. We can see WireGuard is the fastest protocol and still maintains decent security. QBelt is also designed for security as well as ease of use. QBelt also works well when building an SD-WAN solution with QNAP. The most secure protocol is OpenVPN, but may require a little more know-how setting it up. And so with that, I'm going to hand this over to Deval for our live demo.
All right, good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Deval. I'm the product manager here at QNAP. So as Cody mentioned, today we'll be looking at our VPN server. One second. Let me share my screen first. All right. So to set up a VPN server, you have to first log into your NAS and open App Center. And once you open up App Center, you have to look up an application called QVPN. Now, QVPN is an application that allows you to either create a VPN server on your NAS, or you can join to another NAS or another VPN server of your choice as well if you want to have your QNAP joined to another VPN service. So right here you have the QVPN service. Just open the application and you will have you have different options. So overview just gives you the ability to check how many users are connected right now to your VPN server, what services you're using, and what virtual switches you're using. Now, as I mentioned, as Cody mentioned, that you have ability to create multiple VPN server. We support QBelt, which is our own VPN service. We have PPTP. We also support L2TP, IPsec. OpenVPN WireGuard is our new VPN server that we now support, which is a very lightweight, secure VPN server. And the privilege just gives you the ability to check, add users to your VPN. Online users will give you the ability to see how many users are online. Connection log just gives you the ability to see how much, who connected at what time, and how much data they transfer. VPN Client is the ability to actually give you the ability to have your NAS joined to another VPN service. If you want to have your NAS joined to another VPN server, so if you have like site-to-site VPN, we have NAS at site 1 and NAS at site 2, and the NAS at site 1 is a VPN server. You can join the NAS at site 2 to the site 1 VPN server. So anything that you transfer between those NASs will be transferred with a secured VPN tunnel. So you can do that as well. Or you can have, if you have your own VPN service that you want to hide your NAS's location, you can also do that as well. We support our QBelt, PPTP, L2TP, OpenVPN, and WireGuard. Now, we also have our own landing page that you can actually look up to see what VPN services that we support, and more, gives you more information about the VPN service. But what I would like to now show you again would be the differences between the VPN services. Now, as I mentioned, we have our own QBelt, which is QNAP's VPN service. We also support L2TP, OpenVPN, and WireGuard. So what are the differences between these two, or which one do you want to use, or which one do you want to avoid, right? So let's look up some major differences. So WireGuard is again our new VPN server that we support. It's actually the fastest method to access data between when you're accessing via VPN. Okay, so you have to understand, when you set up a VPN service, when you join a VPN service, your speed is affected because there is something called overhead that happens when you connect to a VPN service. So let's say if you have 1 gig networking, 1 gig internet service, right? When you join to a VPN, you're not going to get 1 gig. You're actually going to get a little bit less than 1 gig because there's an overhead that VPN service, because it creates a secure VPN tunnel between your client and the QNAP NAS. So the transmission speed is affected because every packet that has to be transferred between the client and the NAS has to be secured and has more information because it's a VPN tunnel. So usually there will be some overhead. So when you're using, if you want to have the fastest connection and also not the most secure, but actually very secure connection, WireGuard is the best method to use. WireGuard gives you the best transmission speed. So we have actually speed tests done between different VPN services. So if you can look up, WireGuard gives you the best speeds out of all the three available uh, VPN services. Again, with FTP and HTTP. FTP gives you the maximum speed when you're using VPN compared to other protocols like HTTP as well. So you can use FTP if you want to get the fastest. So WireGuard also supports WireGuard supports private and public key, so that's why it's very secure. I'm going to show you today. We'll be looking at two different setups. We're going to look at QBelt and we're going to look at WireGuard because that's our newer support. And also it supports PSK, which is pre-shared key. So you have to have a pre-shared key if you want to have connect if you want to connect between these two. It also supports encryption, and this is why it's also very secure. Now, if you want to have the most secure connection, then OpenVPN is the best method to connect because it does PSK certification, username and password, and it also has its own encryption method, which is OpenSSL. So it does give you the best secured connection and also has decent speeds as well. So if you want to, and also supported widely as well. And the next method is QBelt, which unfortunately gives you the slower speed, but it's more secured as well, and it's also ease of use. It's very easy to set up, as I'm gonna show you. But it also supports use cases like QUWAN. So we have our own SD-WAN solution. So that's where you're gonna be using QBelt. Also, if you have multiple QNAP devices, if you want to join one QNAP NAS to another QNAP NAS, QBelt is recommended because it'll give you the best connection method, also easiest connection method. And it's also very quick to set up a VPN as well. And we also use PSK, which is pre-shared key, and also we support DTLS and AES encryption, so very encrypted connection, a very secure connection as well, and also has decent speeds as well. So that's the most. You can visit this particular page to get more information on how or which connection method is best. But let's go back to the setup. So now, if you want to set up a VPN connection, you have to, as I mentioned, you have to download QVPN service. And QVPN service 3 is our newest version. And let's set up it. Let's go with QBelt first. So QBelt, to set up QBelt, you have to just click on QBelt and enable that service. The VPN client pool, it will auto select by itself, looking at your own connection method on the NAS. Because VPN service acts as a DHCP, when a client connects, it needs to provide an IP address to that client. So it will create an IP connection or IP pool that the QNAP will use to assign IP addresses. So keep it what it is by default. We also have the service port, which is what you need to forward if you have to actually open up a port on the router for any VPN service to be used. So for QBelt, it only requires one port, which is what we have given here. You can change it to something else. By default, it's 450. I usually recommend something other than 450, like 460, 470, depending upon that. Pre-shared key is what you just create a pre-shared key. Recommended to have a secured pre-shared key. You can enter having a long pre-shared key with numbers and letters and capital letters, lower cases helps as well. And how many clients do you want to have maximum connected to the QBelt? You can actually, by default, is 5, but you can actually have more than that. And network interfaces. So if you have multiple network interfaces, like you have 1G connection, you have 10G connection, you can actually ask the QNAP to select either, or you can actually have it auto detect, which all of them will be used, or you can actually manually assign an IP a virtual switch. Now let me show you virtual switch that I have on my network. So virtual switch allows you to create a virtual switch that QNAP can use. So on my interfaces, I have port trunk between 1 and 2, and I have another network connection available. So I can use my 1 and 2 port for my local connection. For my VPN, I can actually have a dedicated 1 gig connection just for VPN. So everyone has fastest connection available, and when the QNAP NAS is used in the office, the VPN connection doesn't affect the performance of that particular connection. So you can actually have, because QNAP provides you with multiple network ports on most of our NASs, you can actually have one of the network ports for your office connection and one of the network ports for your VPN connection. To connect that, you just create a new virtual switch, like add a virtual switch. Just go to basic mode. You can select the new adapter that you have and then click on apply. And once you have done that, you can then select in the QVPN, you can then select the new virtual switch that you just created. And that will allow you to now use the adapter 3 only for VPN connection. So that's how easy it is to create a new adapter. For DNS server, you can select, you can go through a wizard. You can select a public DNS. You can select the NAS's default DNS, or you can select your own manual DNS. I'm just going to keep it the public DNS, which is Google's DNS service 8.8.8.8. Now, to join a QBelt, you have to download an application. We have applications for Mac and Windows, as well as we have iOS and Android as well. So for applications, if you want to join your phone to the VPN, you can actually use Android and iOS application called QVPN. For the computer, just click on this and it will download the application. Now I already have the application open right here, and you can see that this is the application that you want to use to join this computer to the VPN. So you can either, if the computer is on the same network as the NASs, you can click on discover and the QNAP will discover the NAS, or you can just click on add manually. To add manually, you can first you have to select device type. Because we support or we have our own router that also supports QBelt. You can also join if you set up QVPN on the Q router, then you select that. But when you're doing it on a NAS, just select NAS. Profile name, you can just put in any profile name, home NAS or office NAS. You have to select the username and password for the NAS that you have that you're joining to. You can click on remember now. You can also set up SSL. If you want to do SSL certification, you can actually click on connect immediately after connection, and then you have to enter the IP address or the DDNS name. So because it's a remote connection, I'm going to select my remote IP, my QNAP cloud address, because I'm connecting this from a remote connection. So you can select that. You can select the VPN connection, which is QBelt. And under advanced, you can select detect port automatically, or you can uncheck that and you can manually enter the port, which is a 460 port that we entered, and then click on save. I already have this connection enabled. I'm going to show you the edit network connection. So this is my connection method, and also pre-shared key will pop up. So you can enter the pre-shared key that I have. And then once you have done that, click on connect, and the QNAP will now start connecting to the VPN. So now the VPN is now connected. So if I now try to access my NAS from a local IP address, you can see that I can access my NAS on my home NAS via the local IP address of that particular NAS. So I can actually access my NAS and everything should be connected as well. So you can click on open VPNs. Now it should show you online user. See the QUS double PC, which is my PC or my laptop right here in my office that is connected right now. You can also see under online users what IP address the client is using, how much data they're transferring through, and what protocol they're using. You can also disconnect that connection if you don't recognize that particular computer. If I disconnected, the VPN will be disconnected immediately. So you can also do that under connection log. You should see that I just logged in, and once I've disconnected, it will show you the data transfer between them. And now this laptop is actually, you can think of this laptop as being on virtually being on the same network, which is my home network. Even though I'm currently in my office, I can actually access I can actually access my my NASs via SMB service. So you can actually type the IP address of my NAS, and you can see right here. You can see right here I can access my all my folders as if via SMB as well. So all my folders that I'm trying to access, it's actually accessed as if I'm on the same network, as even though I'm remotely accessing this. I can just copy and paste something on my computer, and you can see that the speed is being I can transfer file just by copying pasting instead of accessing. When you do remote access without the VPN, you have to use only the browser-based access, right? Because there's no SMB protocols, there's no FTP protocol. You have to use you have to use HTTP. You have to open up file station, open up that file. But when you're using a VPN connection, you'll be as if on the same network as you're on the local, as if you're virtually on the same network, right? On the map, you can see right here where the NAS is and where the data has been transferred. You can also see the live speed graph as well. You can also do connection logs. You can also do available apps. So that's the QBelt VPN connection. So I'm just going to stop this file transfer. The next I'm going to show you, which is the most important one, which is the WireGuard VPN. The WireGuard is a newer protocol that we now support. The protocol has been alive since 2019. I believe they introduced the WireGuard VPN service in 2019. It's I believe it's the most fastest VPN service available, and gives you the bestest connection possible, fastest connection with the most secure connection as well. So again, to set up VPN, first I'm going to disable the QBelt first, ensuring that QVPN is not okay. The QBelt is now disabled. So to set up WireGuard, you have to go here on the QVPN and go to a WireGuard service. Oh, I can no longer. Okay, right here. Go to WireGuard, and then you have to enable the WireGuard VPN server, and then you have to download the application called WireGuard on your computer. Let me show you the application real quick. So this is the application. I already added my NAS for this particular demo. So I'm gonna show you how to add a new connection, but I already added this. So if you download this application for the first time, this should be empty. There should be nothing here to add. So first of all, you have to generate a new key. I'm not gonna generate a new key because I already have it configured. So, but if you want to configure, you have to generate a new key. So new private key and new public key will be displayed right here. Once you have that information, download this particular application and click on add empty tunnel. Okay, so when you add empty tunnel, the only two information that you have right here will be interface and private key, and also there'll be public key. First of all, you can name whatever you want for this particular connection. I can just I can just name it as office connection, office NAS, or office. Sorry, this is my my home NAS, so I can put it as home NAS. So you can name it as anything you wanted to, and then just copy this public key. Okay, now once you have done that, you have to click on add peer, and then you can just say office PC. So this is the PC you'll be adding on your NAS. So once you name it, you can name anything you wanted to, but the public key, you have to copy that public key that you copied from your computer onto this section right here. Under advanced settings, you can enter a preset key endpoint, but that is optional. I'm not going to enter that, but what you need is allowed IP. You need to copy this information, and I'm going to show you where to add that. So let's go back and first okay, so right here, once you have done that, you have to enter, or you have to add a few information. Now, WireGuard is mostly a command-based interface. So everything you are going to do is not click-based. It's mostly command-based. So first thing you have to add is address, and then just give a space, equals to, and space. And then remember this allowed IP. Just copy this and paste it right here. Okay, once you have done that, next thing you need to enter is DNS. So DNS again, so let's apply this. This is done right here. So DNS is, again, you can do the DNS wizard, or you can select your own DNS service, but I've done 8.8.8.8, so I'm just going to type that 8.8.8.8. So once you have done that, so that's the interface information. Now, the next thing you're going to add is peer information. Peer is where you're connecting to. So this will be the NAS's information. So let's type peer and then add public key. Space equals to. Now remember, I told you this public key will pop up right here. You have to just copy this and then just paste it right here. Next thing you're gonna add is allowed IPs. Yeah. So this allowed IP, again, this allows you to add the IP address. If you want to have the whole network, if you want to access the whole network, you can just type 0.0.0.0 and then 0. So this will allow the whole IP address, or all of the devices in your IP address or in your network, to be accessed via this particular computer. You can also, this new, once you do 0.0.0.0, a new pop-up will show up right here called block untunneled traffic, or kill switch. If you want this particular computer to use all the traffic through this VPN tunnel, then you have to check this box. But let's say you don't want all my internet traffic to go through this particular VPN. Let's say if you want to just browse, you're just browsing like regular YouTube videos or Facebook, so you want to use all of that traffic through a regular network or your Wi-Fi, local Wi-Fi, then uncheck this box. But if you want to have everything go through the VPN tunnel, then you have to check this particular box. I'm just going to uncheck to leave it as it is, because I want to have all my regular traffic go through my regular internet, and then all my VPN traffic will go through this VPN connection. Okay, once you have done that, you have to put endpoint. Endpoint is the NAS's IP address. So I can use my my QNAP cloud. This is where you're going to be using my QNAP cloud information, or your public IP address. Now, also another thing to remember is the port that the WireGuard uses is 51820. You can change it right here, or you can leave it as it is. And now you have to open this particular port on your router. Only then this connection will work. So because you're going to be using another port other than 80, so I have to put 51820. So once you have done that, that finishes that. And then the last thing you need to enter is persistent connection, or persistent keep alive. So persistent. Now this is the information that you're going to be entering from here, which is the 10, which is 10 right here. So just enter that. Once you have done all of that, click on save. And once you have done that, you can now click on activate to join the VPN connection. I've already done that, so I'm just going to click on activate. So once I click on activate, the QNAP will now, this computer, my client computer, is now joined to the home's VPN connection. So you can see right here, you can see how much data has been transferred, what was the last handshake, and what IP address it's using. Now I can access all of my devices that I on my home network that are remotely. So this is my office network, but this computer will be virtually on the same network as if it's on, even though I'm in the office right now. But this my laptop is currently virtually in my home. I can access any other devices on my network as well. If I want to access my home router, I can just put in my home router's IP address. I can actually access that information as well. If I have another device on my home, again, I can also transfer, I can also access the NAS or any file share server. I just have to put in the local IP address for that file share, and everything should be connected. You can see right here, I can access all my folders as if I'm on the same network as of my home. So I can just copy and paste any files I wanted to as well. Again, very easy to use, a very simple setup as well. I can just stop this file transfer. If I have another device, let's say I have a home, if I have a Windows computer at my home, I want to remotely access it, I can just put in remote desktop connection. So I can I just have to put in my home computer's local IP address for my remote desktop and click on OK, and you can see that it's connecting. I can RDP into my local computer as well. So everything connects. There's no problem at all. This is, and also most fastest connection method as well. So very simple to use as well. And you can see right here how much data has been transferred, how many, what was the last handshake as well. All of this information is all connected. Once I delete this connection, this computer will no longer be able to connect as well. So you can actually have a very secure method. If you no longer want any of your clients to be connected to your VPN, you just delete them from the peer table, and they won't be able to connect that as well. And once I deactivate this, everything will stop working, and my computer will no longer virtually be connected to the same network. So that is it for today's demo. Hopefully I was able to get you more information. So that's the introduction to QVPN and WireGuard and QBell. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to type that in the questions box. Now we have a question right here. Do you have a proxy VPN solution that can provide VPN access when you do not have a bridge modem or static IP address? So you can, for proxy server, we actually have our own proxy server application that you can actually use to create a proxy server on your NAS. So that would be different than the VPN connection. You can use proxy server application. Just go to App Center and click on search for proxy server, and you can use that as the proxy server if you want to have your NAS to be a proxy server. Another question we have is when and where will the recording of this demo be available? We usually post the recording within a day of the webinar, and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. You will also receive a follow-up email with the link for that particular recording. So, but it will be on our YouTube channel, QNAP College. You can also view the recording after the webinar. Can we have another question we have is, can we have the VPN map directly to our drive letter on a client when it connects? Fortunately, that will be for the Windows side of it. I haven't seen an application that does that, but you can actually keep the drive. You can map the drive once a VPN is connected. Once a VPN is disconnected, the drive will obviously get disconnected as well. The only issue is you may get some errors here and there when it disconnects, but there won't be any harm. Just leave that drive letter, and then once the VPN connection goes back alive, you can just go back to my computer, open up that drive letter, and it should reconnect immediately. So just keep it connected, and that should be that will be available. So keep it connected on the do not disconnect the do not right click and disconnect the map drive. Just leave it there, and it will no longer connect if the VPN is turned off. Another question is there a written documentation to do the setups that were demonstrated? Yes, we have on our YouTube channel. We'll post all the links as well. But yes, just look up QNAP QVPN, and there's a guide on how to set up all of this as well. And we have a step-by-step guide, a written guide with screenshots that will guide you through this connection method that we have. On the NAS side, another question. On the NAS side, can we force the VPN connection to only show one folder that we specify? That is a good question. Unfortunately, no, because VPN, when you connect the VPN, it's just another protocol. So it will just show you everything that it passed that is there on the website. But what you can actually all the folders that you have on the NAS. But what you can actually do is you can actually create a new user on your computer. Let's say, for example, you can create a new user called user one, and only provide him certain folders to be shared. You can only give him access to folder 1 and 2. So when they access the QNAP NAS, depending on the protocol, if they're accessing the NAS via file station, they only see folder 1 and 2. If they're accessing via FTP, they will only see folder 1 and 2. But if they try to access via Samba, which I showed you in the demo, they'll be able to see all the folders, folder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever folders you have, but they can only access folder 1 and 2 that you provide him access to. So there is a way to control that, just but you can actually force them not to be able to access the folders that you don't want them to. You just have to create a new user on your NAS, and when they access a VPN, just give them access to that same folder. That's it. If a person opens a Word document, is it transferred to the client and then sent back to the document is safe? So okay, that's a question for Microsoft, but as far as I know, when you open up a Word document, the Word document is saved on the computer's RAM, and once they're done edit, when they save the file, it's actually saving it directly on the QNAP NAS. So it just doesn't so yeah, so when you open a file directly from the NAS, it actually opens part of the file on the computer, on the client's computer, but when you save it, it goes back and saves it on the NAS. But if the connection disconnects, the file is, I think, is only read only, and they cannot make any changes, and the file on the NAS is just when the last save was done. So that's another comment. Perfect. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and hopefully you guys have a great day. We'll have a follow-up email with the recording of this video, and we'll also have a future. We're gonna have another workshop at the end of this month, and then we're gonna have another webinar next month. So stay tuned for that.